Welcome to another episode of Networking Star. This is Jeff Boyle. Networking Star brings some of the best entrepreneurs, some of the best network marketers, and just some of the best all-around inspirational people. Today I have with me Tony Cannuli. Tony Cannuli has been the vice president at MLMIA. He's done extremely well as a rep in the field. He's done a lot of consulting. He interviews entrepreneurs. He does a lot of things all the way from the field to, you name it, that he's done it. And what I love about having people that are multidimensional is that you kind of see what they've done to be successful, what they've done to climb their ranks, so you can dissect their success and apply it into your own life. Tony, welcome to the show.
Well, hey, thanks, Jeff. I appreciate you having me on. I've been excited, looking forward to this. As you know, due to some health issues, I haven't done any shows in some time. And I got to be honest, being on this end of it instead of being on the other end, because I know I'd interviewed you back, gosh, it's been on, what, a year and a half, 2 years now, I guess. And being on this end of it's a little interesting. I'm not quite used to that, but I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
You bet. I know that you've had the health issues. I know that you're in the middle of a move, so I'm glad that you took the time to do it. And one of the things that we talked about before we started recording is just realistically the profession of being an entrepreneur, the profession of being a network marketer, and how sometimes people try to shortcut that. Talk a little bit about what you're thinking on that as we were discussing it before the call.
Well, it's a great subject. It's a really important subject, and a lot of people talk about all the time, treating it like a business. But here's the thing: the majority of people have never been in business. They're used to a job, and so they're used to your typical paradigm of a job lifestyle. I grew up in a business ownership environment. My family owned their own businesses. So when I first saw network marketing, I understood what, payroll was. I understood what expenses was. I understood that, sometimes that when an employee wasn't there, that you stepped in to take over their time. I understood all those things, ongoing education, because my family, I never saw them work for anybody. So from my perspective, it was easy for me to understand that the big difference from a home business versus a traditional business is just the capital investment. That's really the big difference. And allows anybody to become an entrepreneur. But the downside is it allows anybody to become an entrepreneur, as you know. And if it's if you've invested, I don't want to use the word invest, but if you spend $500 or $1,000 or even $250 to start a home business, if you treat it like that, you're not probably not gonna be there very long. You've got to treat it with the same seriousness you would if it was 100,000, half a million, or $1 million business, as well as a traditional, like you said, with like you being an attorney or whether you're a doctor. Look at the thousands of hours that goes into the learning and education of what you need to learn to do what you need to do, and then you're paying back all those student loans for years and years and years, right? You don't even make an. I mean, think about it. And network marketing, it's totally different. So the paradigm, the expectation management has to be there, in my opinion. I think that's one of the biggest challenges we have of taking someone from a W-2 mentality to a 1099 mentality. Now, if you can do that, you've got somebody that has the potential to win and win big here.
We've seen in the last little bit within network marketing, we've seen for 60 years people making a tremendous amount of money, and then about 20-25 years ago you saw this enormous wealth being created, not just on the corporate side, but you also see it on the rep side, where unprecedented wealth. So you're starting to see some of these professionals come in, but you're also seeing a lot of the people that were short circuiting trying to short circuit the process, trying to circumvent the time that it takes to be able to build the business. And what we're seeing now is just the emphasis on governments truly trying to ensure that people are having customers. And that's something that we've talked about too, as we've had the different conversations on making sure that it's a viable business. As you've been on the MLMIA and as you've done consulting for different companies, what's some of the things that you've discussed with the business owners as it relates to that, getting customers rather than just building networks?
Wow, that's an interesting conversation in and of itself, Jeff. I've had some amazing, just like you have, some amazing discussions, right down to, hey, get a freaking customer program. Number one, in some cases, some of these customers, they don't even put it, some of these companies don't even put a provision in for it, to never mind make it an importance, right? So in others, it's been really how to incentivize. What are you incentivizing? Every compensation plan that is connected to a product in the business model itself, what you incentivize is what people will do. Where you're paying them from is what they'll do. So if you're incentivizing them only to help people bring in we'll say a product package, whether it be your typical $500 or $1,000 product package, or whether you're incentivized to actually go out and get customers, will really determine what people do. And so ultimately, the company really does have significant control over what the field will do moving forward, the ripple effect on their decisions. And there's a major shift happening, as you and I have spoken about off and on over the last couple of years alone, just in not just this Vima thing that came up, is there's a major shift going on right now where product consumed by the end consumer is critically important. And really, network marketing always was organically about having a better quality product that someone like you or I, that we put the legs on it basically. We share the story, and through us sharing the story, people buy that product. And oh, by the way, because the product is great, because you're getting results, because it's efficacious, now maybe I can see residual income. Maybe I can see making money. That's really the way that the profession was really designed to be to begin with early on. And what you're seeing here more recently is the product doesn't really mean a whole lot in some cases. I hate to say this, Jeff, but there's some companies out there that they just, it's like the product isn't that important, but it's a comp plan, and it's an extra level on this, and it's an extra infinity bonus over here, but the product's like, well, the product has to be more than, I know in Vima's case, Vima's got a phenomenal product, but their compensation system, the way things were designed, I think affected them. But I think more of it was just unrealistic expectation, like what you and I started talking about, and the fact that people go out there and they don't necessarily treat it like a business. So if you're a new person and you're telling some college kid that's 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, hey, just get in, go out and do a bunch of parties, do this, do this, do this, and you'll be making 50 grand a week, guess what? There's a problem with that, because people really don't know what it takes to build a six-figure income in network marketing, never mind a seven-figure income in network marketing. It's a lot. There's a lot that goes behind it. And so that's an issue, that expectation, once again, going back to what we talked about. But customers are going to be, in my opinion, in the future, and I've had these conversations a lot, are going to be paramount importance. And a lot of it's going to be, and my suggestion to owners that may listen to this interview, Jeff, is start looking at what you're incentivizing. What are you really trying to get your field leaders, your field force to do? And that will give you some clues as to what you incentivize. And right now, the FTC, now the decisions on Vima have not been finished yet. They're either going to settle A, or B, it'll go to court, and whatever happens in that final trial. So, but there will be precedents coming from that, like the FTC in 1979 Amway issue, where a lot of things have changed. The FTC, unfortunately, still uses things from even 40 years ago. So whatever comes out of this Vima situation, good or bad, will set precedent moving forward. So right now, what we see, though, is they want to see heavy emphasis. A lot of it's the talk, the verbiage, the language, we'll say, but a lot of it's going to be emphasis on end-line consumer consumption. Not so much, if you get three people to spend $500 and they get three to spend $5 and they get three, and boom, it's what you're going to make in the comp plan. Where it's more recruiting. It's really a lot of it's language, really, because everybody's a customer, even a good distributor, an affiliate, a business builder, a brand partner. I don't care what term you want to use. They're good to, first of all, you shouldn't join one of these unless you use the product. Okay, so you're going to be a customer. The fact that you're a customer that wants to make a business out of it's great. Okay, but the FTC is still having some issues with understanding that, Jeff.
I think it's not, and it's not just the FTC. I think it's because there's so much money now within compensation plans within this industry, and it's so much easier to find products. In the end, I think there's just a lot of crappy products out there, and you look at it. Would you ever buy that product if there wasn't a compensation plan behind it? And I think most people would say definitively, no, it's awful, or it's way too expensive. And I think within network marketing, the unfortunate, or the fortunate part about this is you're starting to see that you're going to have to be accountable to this. As you said, Vima, they have very quality products, and BK, I ran a very tight ship with it. And BK was on the show, I think 3 weeks before this happened, and it just broke my heart, because in the end, there's so many people out there with such lousy products that it is so much about getting people in the business and to be able to just focus purely on that part of the compensation plan with it. And so, as you see the different transitions, you see, for example, you've had different roles, a lot of different roles within network marketing, right? And so, what is the thing that most excites you now with the different trends and the different things that you're seeing? And then after that, what's the thing that concerns you the most as it relates to network marketing first in the United States, then the world? That's about 18 different subparts that I just gave you. But
That's okay. I can multitask in my head. That's a rare thing to do. But I can keep every one of those questions and answer them. But before I go into what's exciting me and also what's detrimental, I want to just cover the one thing about the products, and you said it, but it's true. There's many companies, unfortunately, in direct selling that, quite frankly, I question. I go, why do they even exist? Why do they even exist? And quite frankly, it was the DNA, the fabric, the foundation of what they started with, where it's like, okay, well, we want to start a company. We're entrepreneurs. Let's pick the blue light special comp plan. Let's have this guy come and design it. Someone like you or I or some consultant, right? It will bring out the right comp plan. And let's go figure out what's the hot product of the day. Okay, is it coffee? Is it a juice? Is it this? Is it that? And I'm not picking on any one of those inherently, but it's just they start to copy each other, and that's been an issue. And so what I've seen is this watered down effect of quality. And where network marketing I used to always say, listen, it's a higher quality product. We put more money in the manufacturing process, more money in the research and development. All right, and that, unfortunately, we're missing that in pieces. It's very difficult, though, in the network marketing model, unless you manufacture your own products, Jeff. It's very difficult to actually bring them to the end-line consumer at a price that the average person, because one of the issues, like you said, is the cost. And so if someone's selling a shake for $100, for instance, and they can go to GNC and get it for 30 or 40, that's a challenge. And since 80 to 90% of our field force, actually about at least 80 to 90% of our field force are non-sales types, then they're in a selling situation where they got to go, yes, John, the reason ours is, we're 10 times better because of this, even though the price is this, and then you put people in a position where they have to sell, which is a challenge. So that is a major issue. Regarding what excites me today, as well as some of the challenges, I mean, technology is amazing. You and I being able to do what we're doing right now, doing a Google Hangout, for instance, being able to use texting to reach people and connect with people, being able to do virtual live streaming, being able to go into a living room meeting, which, by the way, that excites me to this day. Even still, I still believe living room meetings are the absolute lifeblood of any network marketing business. I don't care what the product is. I don't care what kind of technology you have, which, by the way, is a dual sword, because technology allows people also to take that personal face-to-face connection. Now, of course, we're doing what we're doing right now. We do bring it in, but unfortunately, when you can, there's something lost when you can't meet with somebody in a living room and break bread with them, drink coffee with them, spend time with them, fellowship, really. There's something said about building belief systems and building trust and relationships that you cannot create or recreate any other way except for events. So as much as I like technology, as much as I like the fact that we can do what we're doing right now. I mean, right now I live up on a mountain, and the fact that I can do this 20 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to do this. All right, the fact that we can use our phones and cell phones to do live streaming meetings, and the fact that we can grab pictures of before and afters with our cell phones and show results with products like so many people are doing with their companies, depending upon the product. The fact that we can do all that stuff is really, really cool, that we could actually build a multi-million-dollar business with tools. But tools still are nothing else. They're just tools that we use. We have to continue to remember that this is a one-on-one, people, person-to-person business, and these help us do that. So as excited as I am that this $180 billion profession worldwide called direct selling is viable today with technology, and it's going to continue on unless we can continue to find ways to stay connected with people, to develop that know, like, and trust, that bond of trust. The tools will not replace that. You can't just push a few buttons. That's where I've been trying to educate internet marketers for some time now, that if you want to build a loyal brand, if you want loyal customers, loyal affiliates to continue to use products over and over, month after month, year after year, and develop, what I call, generational income, like Margie Aldeprande, 26 years with one company, she still gets paid for what she did 26 years ago. What a dream come true. Or do you want to be in a, like some other people, where you're in a company and 2 years later another company, and 2 years later another company, and 10 years later, all that work, you're still jumping from company to company. So there's a lot of value in doing it right, building the bonds, building the trust, building all of the relationships with a company that's long term. And that really makes it, that's what excites me about what's going on right now. The tools, technology, but at the same time, doing it the way we did it 25 years ago has not changed. Those foundational pillars and principles have not changed.
You know, it's pretty interesting is that the first thing that I ever saw is I started in the business like a lot of bit different people with Amway. I was 22 years old, and the first thing that I ever went to was a huge meeting with 15,000 people, and with 15,000 people there, the one thing that I can remember, well, let's say two things. One, Dexter Yeager talked too much till 4 o'clock in the morning, but the other thing I remembered was, wow, if these guys can do it, I can do it too. And so much of that
Mm.
gets lost, that energy that we used to have, the energy of being able to do it. And I think the companies that are rolling right now, they are implementing a lot of the new meets the old. And I think that that's probably why, you know,
Mm.
the human touch, but still have some of the modern tools. They're the ones that are really starting to see the growth.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a cultural piece. It's culture. It's getting someone to understand that going from that W-2 to a 1099 mentality that we talked about. It's understanding the principles of personal development. In order to have more, you have to become more. And so you benefited from that at 22. I started in Amway at 18, and I had the mentorship of one of Dexter Yeager's personal diamonds. The first event I went to, probably about the same size. You know, I had Zig Ziglar was one of the people that were there at that, and Charlie Tremendous Jones was the other. And I went to that right after losing my parents, so I was in a state of grieving. And the diamond intuitively knew that if he could get me around positive associations, obviously he gave me the book of the month and the tape of the week and got me to events, but getting me to that one big event changed my life at 18. And if it hadn't been for that, I don't know if I would be in network marketing today. And so, but all of that was there. They taught us all of that early on. And that cultural piece is so freaking important now. And some companies don't have it, some do, and some are needing to develop it. But it's so critically important to be able to have that culture, because at the end of the day, tools and techniques are great. That's about 20% of it. 80% of it's the you factor in people and working with people. If you so, what are you going to spend your time? You know, Jim Rohn would say, work on the 80 more than you do even the 20. 20 is important. What to do, how to say it, where to say it, setting your goals, having a meeting, making the list. You know, all the things that we do, right? All the mechanics that we do. But the nuances, the music, the personal development, the people, the how to win friends and influence people aspect of network marketing, which is a book that everybody needs to have and needs to read. One of the first I read, because that Amway Diamond put it in my hand and said, look, here's one of the first books you need to read, because without this, you're not going to go far in this profession or anything in life, really. And so, anyway, I get really excited when we get into this area of discussion, Jeff.
Well, then let's finish with that. I'll let you have the last couple moments here to go through it. What is the one thing that set you on the right direction that is 100% applicable today to be able to help you have that focus, the motivation, and really sets you on the path to be able to make a lifelong earning within network marketing?
It's a great question. They're really attitude. I learned right away that your attitude towards life and your attitude towards anything and situations is so critical. But once again, that goes back to personal and professional development. They gave me the books that talked about that, the PMA stuff, the positive mental attitude stuff, as we called it back then. They had given me that. So that was critically important. But the one thing that was the most important was to identify quality leadership in the company that was stuck, that they weren't going anywhere. They had already proven themselves. They had already gone through their own growth stages, and to connect with them. And even if your sponsor is 2 days newer than you, or his sponsor is 4 days newer than him, you look up or you find people in the company that actually have what you want, or at least are moving in that direction, and you spend time with them. You ask them what they read, what they listen to, what systems they use in that company, and you plug into that system. The system of a company, a good company with a good culture, is like 110 in your house. If you don't plug the outlet in, if you don't plug in the appliance, you're not going to get anything from it. You need to plug yourself daily into whatever that system is, and spending 10, 20, minutes a day minimum of reading and listening and watching whatever it is that applies to network marketing, applies to your company, your daily method of operation is critically important. So that mentorship, and then really something that you very rarely see talked about in network marketing, Jeff, is this concept of teaming up. Teaming up, meaning that teaming up, whether it be with your sponsor or somebody else in the upline, and also when you start building your business, ideally teaming up with people in your business where you literally have that real close bond. Where you get to the point where when you come home at the end of the night and you're sitting there and you're having a conversation with that person, it's like, well, how did your day go and what did you do? And having that accountability partner is something that is really important in my opinion, because this is a lonely business at times, especially until you start building a group. So those were areas: plugging into the system, having great mentorship that you can call anytime that you trust. And if you can't find them in your company, find them somewhere. I'm not saying don't do your company. I'm just saying it's so important, especially if you've never had success. And I'm not talking about somebody that can just do a three-way call. I'm talking about somebody that can help guide you as you move forward in your career. That is so important. I was very fortunate to have it. Didn't appreciate it, not at 18, but I mean, I did appreciate having that over time. But in the beginning, I had it. And I just believe that those are key components. Everybody wants to hear, well, what's the secret? What's the right way to say this? Or what's the right way to do that? I'm not going to talk about that, because without what I'm talking about right now, none of that matters. It don't matter. If you don't get the 80% right, the 20%, the techniques. Even Tony Robbins recently, Eric Worre interviewed him, and Tony Robbins made it very clear. It's the skills and techniques are about 20%, and that really doesn't just network marketing. It's the 80%, and the 80% of everything you and I are talking about right now, Jeff.
Well, and I think it's really interesting that, first of all, Dexter Yeager, from most accounts, it's hard to know because no one completely discloses what they make, but he's still the number one income earner in all of network marketing. He's the one that truly was the Earl Nightingale, the Napoleon Hill of network marketing, that brought it into it. And what he created truly spawned so much leadership and so much growth. And you really see that that's missing within so many of the different companies. Tony, I appreciate it. I know you've had a ton of health issues. I know that you're in the middle of a move, but it's been awesome to have you and your dog on with me today.
I wasn't sure if Captain Jack was running around in the background. I kept hearing him coming and going, but he usually likes this chair, so he's kind of upset that I've taken over his chair, because it's really his chair. You know that, right? And but anyway, thank you so much, Jeff. I really appreciate what you do. I watch your shows. I think you've done a phenomenal job with the interviews that you've done and the people. I love your heart and your spirit and all that you stand for. And I'm glad to call you my friend. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to come on and share a few words.
Well, I appreciate it. And one of the things that I tell a lot of people is I do things first because it really makes me better to be with these people. And I guess that if other people can enjoy it and other people can see it, that's just a huge bonus, because I know that I receive so much from doing it. So good luck with all the different things that you're doing. And it's just been awesome to have you.
Thank you, sir.